What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Surviving with Immersive Engineering. Today, guys, we are going to be diving into Immersive Tech, which is another Immersive Engineering add-on, much like Immersive Petroleum that we just finished messing around with out here over the last couple episodes. But Immersive Tech does not work with oil and stuff. It actually works with steam. And so the whole add-on for Immersive Engineering is based around generating steam, putting that into a steam turbine, and then putting that next to an alternator to convert the steam to kinetic energy, and then the kinetic energy into electrical energy. So there's a couple different ways that we can get to actually generating the steam, and then once we generate the steam, it's always going to go into a turbine, and then always going to go into an alternator. But the two different routes for generating it are slightly different. The one we're going to be going over today starts with the distiller, which is the machine we're going to set up, and that is going to turn regular water into distilled water. And then we are going to put that into a solar tower, which is going to use the power of the sun to create steam. Now, the other route that you can go is going to use diesel. So we are going to actually steal some diesel in a couple episodes from our generator over here. And this is the reason we'll be setting these up outside, but it can use diesel and water to then generate steam. And that's in the boiler. And then both of those converge into the turbine, like I said. So that's a pretty general overview of what the add-on does. Generally, it's just based around steam and then based around generating power. So all in all, I think it's going to be pretty cool. I bet the multi-block structures look absolutely awesome, but today's episode is just going to be focused on giving an overview of Immersive Tech, which we kind of just did, and then making the distiller, which is a relatively cheap and simple to work with multi-block structure. So right up here, we have everything that we're going to possibly need. We have our medium voltage wire relays, connectors, insulated coils, and I do have some wooden posts. These are not used at all in the actual construction of the distiller. They're just used in getting power to it because it does require some power. The game does not actually tell you how much it uses, and I have found zero documentation online about the power consumption, but it does not use very much. We're going to be using medium voltage today for transporting power just because we already have medium voltage hooked up outside, but you could probably use low voltage and be perfectly fine. Then we have the fluid pump because we are going to need to be getting water into this system. Sorry about that, guys. One of my cats needed my attention, but as I was saying, we could actually use regular water in the solar tower, but that would actually get us less steam. So what we're doing is sort of a pre-processing step of getting distilled water, removing the salt out of it, and then that is going to go into the solar tower, and that will get us a more efficient steam production in the solar tower itself. So that is what the fluid pump is for. We actually have some extra fluid pipes too for bringing that in. You need some of these for the construction of the actual multi-block structure, but then some of them for using with the fluid pump. Then we have the steel scaffolding, iron sheet metal, redstone engineering block, and light engineering blocks, which are actually used in the multi-block construction. So if we open up the engineer's manual, we can see that there is a tab specifically for Immersive Tech, and that's got the distiller, solar tower, boiler, steam turbine, and alternator that I just discussed. And so we're starting with the distiller, and then we should be able to go in and get our projector and pull it out, and we now have this to work with. So we're going to be setting it up here, and the main reason being that I want to keep all of these outside because eventually one of the methods for generating steam is going to require that we put some diesel into it, and so I want to be able to use the diesel that is currently going into the diesel generator over here, siphon a little bit of it off just so we can experiment with it, see which one we like better, and just get to mess around with it. And so it's much easier to do if we are outside. So we're going to set this one up here, and I'm thinking that I want to put it back over here a little bit just because I want room for the solar tower to be closer to this area over here. So if we put this down, we should actually take a look in the manual because there are a lot of inputs and outputs, and we want to make sure that we are going to put them in the right area. So the redstone engineering block is going to go on the side with the input to its right and the output to its left. So if we do that, we should probably put it right about here, I'd say. So right about here should be fine. The item output is going to be directly in the back. We don't really care about that too much. Just something to keep in mind if you really do want the salt. I do know that a lot of mod packs will make use of salt. And if I could actually place things down correctly, a lot of mod packs do make use of the salt. And so a lot of people will probably see this video trying to find a way to get salt. And this is one of the effective ways to get it. It doesn't require a ton of resources, I'll say, to get. But we don't really have a use for it, at least not currently. So I don't really care about having it easily accessible. I just want it to go somewhere that it's not going to be in the way. I'd rather have the current inputs and outputs be more readily available to us. To make this into an actual multi-block, we are going to right-click on the center iron sheet metal block there, and now we can get rid of that. And there we have it. This is the Distiller. Not too much of a fancy multi-block structure. I mean, it looks nice, but there's no fancy moving parts like some of the stuff over here. Obviously, this one's flipped off, but if we came over here and flipped it on, we'd see everything going. We got the cool pump jack going. The rest doesn't move, but it still looks awesome. But yeah, so nothing too fancy up here, but the important stuff is going to be the input, the output, and where the power goes. So we need power running up here, and we also are going to need power running to wherever we have the fluid pump, which I am going to put right here. So we are going to set this up as such, and we do need to actually go and fill up both of our buckets with water so that we can get a infinite pool down there. Do we have... I guess we don't... I guess I got rid of it, actually, while I was building. So maybe we'll go down to the riverbed down here and grab some, since apparently I just don't think water is important anymore. We've really torn this area up down here, I will say. Getting sand and mostly clay. We have absolutely destroyed the riverbank down there. We'll have to rebuild that later if we want to have a nice view while we are up here. But we can place this down, that, get this bad boy right there. And then we should be able to easily just conserve our fluid pipes, like so. And we should have no issue. We'll be able to put power right up there, and power right up there, and should be good. So we have two options, and I think the best one is going to be to set up another wooden post right about, I'll say, maybe right about here, honestly. And if we pull this side out, it looks like the side's already out. But we're having a slight visual bug. But we do want the medium voltage relay to go right. No, okay, so the side is not out. I thought it looks like it's out. We can't hover over one over here. Let me pick up this relay and see if we can click it on there, because it appears to be a visual bug, but there's no way to know for sure. There we go. Okay, so it was just a visual bug, but then we have the medium voltage connector, and then we have our insulated medium voltage coils right here. Connect those both there, and connect this back down there, and these should actually start running. So I believe, well, actually, you know what? I forgot the most important part of this whole thing. I forgot the lever. Oh my gosh, it's the most simple part of the entire build, but I forgot it. So you know what? We're going to sleep before we actually flick this whole thing on so we can see what's going on. Nothing's really going to be moving, but I would prefer for it to be light on the screen when we actually flick it on and get the whole, hey, it's working portion of the video. But we flick this on, and now we are getting water going in here. And you can see it's actually immediately being converted to distilled water. It does not use up much power. It does not appear. No way to know for sure. But actually, I think if we came over here, we might be able to see. No, because this is going to have an internal buffer. We can't even, I don't even know if you can see that in here somehow. But either way, I do not believe it uses up much power. If any of you guys seem to know what the power consumption is for the distiller, please post it in the comments and I will tag it so it's right at the top. But I definitely don't think it's that much. And you can see that we almost have an entire 24 buckets of distilled water, which is the internal buffer. Now, this is definitely cool because there's not a ton of machines in Immersive Engineering that actually have user interfaces when you click on them. So it is definitely nice having one of those just because being able to see it actually functioning and make sure that everything is working right and not just assuming it is when you get an output is great. So we're not going to pull anything out of this today. We're going to do that next episode into the solar tower. But the output for fluid is here on the side. So you have the input on the right side, the output on the left side for the fluids. And then in the very back, we're going to slap a chest down here in 1 second. And that is the item output for the salt. So I think I had a chest over here that I grabbed from before. And we can throw this down right in the back. So I do not believe that we get a ton of salt from this, but on the off chance that we do get some RNG salt dropping out of this stuff, we do want to have a chest there so that if this is running for days and days and days, it does not get backed up, because once you have all the salt in there that it can hold, it's going to stop running. So definitely make sure you put something down, whether it's a trash can that it gets dumped into to void it, or if you can store the salt somewhere, or even just a chest as sort of a buffer. Definitely do not neglect that one part. But I think it's going to be it for today, guys. I know it was definitely a very, very short video, but that is because next episode we are going to be setting up the solar tower and potentially the turbine to go along with it. And so that one's going to be a little bit of a longer one, but I wanted to separate this out just so that we could sort of touch on immersive tech and, give you guys a little taste of it before we fully jump in. So let me know if you guys are excited to see this. I know we're just making a bunch of power generation and there really isn't much to use it with, but again, it is to teach you guys how to use this in a mod pack where hopefully you will have no issue finding a way to spend all of the energy that you are able to accumulate. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you later.
Standing in a glass bowl at the end of a black hole, cold, lost and upside down.